Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of What the Quote. I am your host, Tawana Hill, and I'm so excited about this week's quote. It is from Marshall Goldsmith, and his quote is, "What got you here won't get you there." So as soon as I play my theme song and do a little dancing, we are going to discuss this quote because I wrote a theme song. You want to hear it?
And with the quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness. Be a kind human. Be a kind human.
So you may notice if you catch the episode on YouTube that the background looks a little different, and that is because one of the reasons why I have not recorded in a couple of weeks is because I moved. So that was exciting. And so I really just wanted to wait and do it in a space that I'm still in the process of creating and it not be rushed or half done. So that's one of the reasons why it's been a couple of weeks. So now on to the dancing. Hey! Yeah! You can't see me, but I'm chair dancing. If you listen to me on the podcast, I'm just chair dancing. So one of the reasons why I love to dance and I put it in this podcast is because I wanted this podcast to reflect everything about me. And I love music and I love dancing. Hence, me recording a song and dancing in most of the episodes on my podcast. So eventually, I don't know, maybe I might do a little dance where I'm standing up and, I don't know, do the Michael Jackson. Who knows? Anyway, I digress. So I was really excited when I came across this quote from Marshall Goldsmith, which is, "What got you here won't get you there." And so I did a little research on Mr. Goldsmith. He is still living. He is a phenomenal leadership coach, speaks all across the globe, and he does still do one-on-one coaching, but it's probably going to cost you six figures. So how about let that sit in for a second. Okay. So to all of us aspiring coaches, that is something that we can look forward to. How about that? Six figures for coaching one client. And so hopefully maybe one of these days I will have the opportunity to interview Mr. Goldsmith. But this quote, "What got you here won't get you there," was impactful because of the journey that I have been on, really my whole life, but more specifically the last 2 years. And when I say what got you here won't get you there, what I really am saying is what got me here won't get me there. Because really, I'm talking about me. And so one of the things that I have learned is that you teach what you learn. And your lessons, or my lessons, are not just for me. They are for the people who I come in contact with, talk to, who might hear this podcast or might have a painting class, whatever the case might be. Really, these lessons are not just for ourselves, but they are for, we learn the lessons for us and for other people. And one of the things that I am learning in this season of my life is that the love and the success and the trials and the tribulations and my presence, just everything, my work ethic, everything that I have done up until this point has been supportive through this part of my journey. What I am also learning is a lot of those choices and the decisions that I have made really on autopilot um, may not continue to get me the results that I desire. And so, one of the things that I'm learning is that when I am responding on autopilot or when I am making choices on autopilot, that really does not create a space of learning and growing and stretching and transforming if I am continuing to do the same thing over and over every day. And I know that is, listen, we are all living through the pandemonium, pandemic, parliament, whatever you want to call it. We are all living through 2020 and 2021. And so a lot of what we have become used to has changed. And I would really invite you to take some time to think about how you have shown up during this past year. Have you been complaining? Or have you been like me? Woo, Chile. I like being at home. Like I like being at home. Now, of course, I'm not saying that I have enjoyed all of the sickness and the loss that has happened as a result of the pandemic. But for me, in me reviewing my life, a lot of things have changed. And so that's what I'm talking about. Um, so one of the things that I have learned during this time is in the past, I have been almost consumed with making other people feel happy and safe and heard. And a lot of that is still a part of me. But what I'm learning is that in this season of my life, I am also an important piece of my life. And while I will always be a person who encourages and listens and be what I call a cheerleader. But now I'm learning that I get to be those things for myself first, you know? And so what that might look like is because if you had met me a couple years ago, I would be like, oh my gosh, so how are you? So where do you work? How do you like it? Really? Do you have kids? Um, what's one thing that you've learned over the last year? I would really create this environment of me asking and getting to know so much about other people. And while that is still important to me, what I'm learning during this time in my life is that I also get to make myself a priority and talk about the things that are important to me. And so what that looks like on a daily basis is if somebody asks me, how you doing? That the thing that rolls off my mouth first is not fine, blessed, highly favored. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like I'm good, how are you? That I really take a moment to think about, okay, how am I How am I feeling? Am I sleepy? Am I tired? What? What's going on with me? Let me take a minute and check in. And so that's a small example of me really coming off of autopilot. And really, if you ask me how I am, that I take a moment, check in, and tell you. Another thing that I am also learning to do is to honor what's going on for me at the moment. And that looks a number of ways. And so in the past, I have stuffed my feelings, have not given them a voice, and really um, just kept the peace in a lot of situations. And now what I'm learning is that if something happens, if there's a disconnect with someone in my life, that I can say, that hurt my feelings. um, that sounded mean. What did you mean by that? And not in a mean way, but really just acknowledging, hey, it, is this what you meant by that? What do you mean? Tell me. Let's have more of a conversation, because that is me showing up differently than I have in the past. Because one of the things that has kind of been my word for the last few months is connection. I really desire to have a connection with God, myself, and other people. And, being in a relationship with God, myself, other people, there's this flow that happens. I talk and I listen. I listen and I talk. And then I respond. And then I listen and I ask questions. And I respond and then I talk. There's this whole flow that goes on. And in the past, I have only been concerned with two of those: listening and asking questions. And now I understand that it's important to really have all three, to really ask questions, to listen, and then to talk. Because it's in the talking that I am sharing more about my thoughts, how I'm feeling, which enables the people who I desire to have a connection with to learn more about me. The same holds true if you are talking more than you're listening. Because if you are doing most of the talking in your relationships with other people in God, you're not listening. you know, and that's an aspect of being in a relationship with someone, because just like always listening and never talking sets up your relationship to be a certain way, so does always talking and not listening. And so if you have been either of those the past however many years, what got you here won't get you there. And so maybe this is the perfect time to really make a new choice, to show up differently than what you have in the past, so that you can get different results in the future. And so that's just one of the examples. Here's another example that is a little more tangible. Let's say you're not a saver of money, which, okay, that's fine. But maybe you are entering a season of your life where you're getting older, you're reflecting more. Maybe you want to take a vacation. Maybe you want to just the security of having a nest egg, whatever that is. Okay. What that might mean is you got to give up Starbucks and save that $5 a day. Or, you know, whatever the case might be, start saving, a dollar a day or 20, whatever it is. Speaking of that, so I was on, if you know me, I love me some TikTok. And there was a young lady on TikTok who, her and her husband, they got a box of envelopes and they put 1 to 100 on, numbered all the envelopes. And then every day they would pick an envelope, and whatever envelope you picked, you had to put that money in there that day and save it, or that week, however you want to do it. And so that's like a fun and creative way. So one day you might pick a 3. So you have to put $3 in the envelope. The next time you might pick 98. And so you get to put $98 in the envelope. So that's it. That's just a fun and creative way to save. Okay, so let's do the opposite of that. Say maybe all you've done is saved. You saved every penny. You just save. So what this season of your life might look like, because listen, you can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. Like I told my mom, spend all your money. spend all that money that you worked hard for. Because if you leave it for me, I'm going to spend it. And so if you have saved, what that might mean is that you have not opened yourself up to create experiences for your life, like a vacation or a shopping spree, or just a wonderful, expensive, lavish dinner at your favorite restaurants where you eat all the 17 courses that they have. I don't even know, where you just really lavish yourself with some sporadic thing. That may be a stretch for you. And so no matter how you've been up until this point, what this quote from Marshall Goldsmith means to me is, if you have always been a certain way, in order to create something new, there's a shift or a change that you might want to be open to. And so here is, I talked a couple of episodes ago about this Tesla that I got. The beauty, it's just, it's just a beautiful manifestation of me thinking, believing, and knowing that I am worthy of something that I have desired for so many years. And so it doesn't matter what it is. If you have been the same way for a number of years, made the same choices, try getting up on the other side of the bed. Try that, see how that works. No matter what it is, this quote is really encouraging you to try something new and exciting that might give you an experience that you never dreamed of. And so I'm going to put on my coaching hat, you know? So let's, of course I just love it so. And so so in the coaching corner, I want you to take a moment, close your eyes, and think about something that is causing you frustration. Something that when it happens, you're upset. Think about that. And then take a moment to think about how you have been reacting or responding to that thing. Okay. And then think about doing the complete opposite of what you have been doing. Okay. So um, let's say you have a sibling, and every time you talk to the sibling, they mention how horrible their life is. And so then you just listen every time you listen. And then you just keep listening, you know? Or you have a friend who all they do is complain about their spouse, their job, this, that, or the other, and you just listen. But then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hear this over and over again. Well, maybe the thing to do is to have an authentic conversation about them with them and just say, hey, I get that this is very stressful for you or you're not happy, and I want to support you. What is the best way that I can support you through this? So that, kind of like, takes them out of that that push play and, play it again and then hit rewind and play it again. So just think about if there's something that you are upset about or that you want to change, think about what that is. And then think about what the complete opposite of that might be. And try that. See how that works. Okay, so listen, our time together has come to an end. But thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate the fact that you are listening, liking, subscribing, and commenting on the What the Quote podcast. And I'll see you next week. Okay, so I wrote a theme song about the podcast. You want to hear it? Here it goes.
And with the quote, we create kind humans who speak kindness, show kindness, be a kind human. Be a kind human.